Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cinema A to B. Today, we're going to be talking another TV series. We don't do these enough. They're a little bit tougher to actually, get through all the episodes in a season since we don't talk episode by episode. But today, Ben, we lucked out. You watched The Bear Season 1. I've watched The Bear Season 1. So we're going to talk about Star Wars. But no, I'm kidding. We're going to talk about the first season of The Bear that came out in 2022. Mm-hmm. So, Ben, start us off.
I'd heard enough recommendations to watch it, and I took my sweet little time, probably a year to 2 years too late. But I finally sat down, gave it its due, didn't rush through it, but watched it in a pretty condensed time frame, like a week or two, I think 2 weeks. Dun, 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 surprise, surprise. I'm in love with the show. I will say I didn't think I would be after the first episode. Mm-hmm. The first episode was so kinetic. I was like, this is almost too much. Like the cuts were so fast. The energy level was just nonstop. I was exhausted after the first show or the first episode. And I know it was on purpose. And I wasn't like bemoaning that, but I was like, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stay with this level of frenetic. Fortunately, it doesn't really stay at that level like every single episode. You get back there. I think 7 was like bonkers. Yeah. But not every episode's like that. And there was a pace at which they were talking to each other in this first episode that I was like, I don't know if I can like stay with a show that's that, relentless.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't stay there. It ebbs and flows. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Emotionally, like I was like, it took me to a place, like a special place as a TV show in the season 1 finale. I was like, wow, this is really high level television. This is places that movies don't even seem to really be capable of getting me to as of late. And I was like, what a journey it just blows my mind that they're only like, a lot of them are like 30-minute episodes. Like not all of them, but,
well, even sub that. Some of them are like in the 22 minutes.
Well, like episode 7's like 20 minutes. I was like, wait.
Well, yeah, because you can't have your audience sustain that type of just
onslaught.
Onslaught of emotional abuse for longer than that.
So no, it's great. I've got more notes and stuff, but now that I've finally gotten around to watch it, I know you like it, but I guess I'm being more intrigued in like what it is you like about it.
Well, so I never watched Shameless. So this is my first real introduction to Jeremy Allen White, and my goodness, the guy's got chops, like absolutely stunning. Now, we've talked about this before I always feel that doing drama is a little bit easier, being angry is a little bit easier than being comedic in most ways, just because comedy is so more personable and it's harder to get timing across, those kind of things. But my goodness, especially like episode 8, the first 10 minutes of when he's just doing his little monologue there at the AA meeting, just is stunning. Absolutely stunning. He pauses at the right moment. He holds himself in the right way. He's got that kind of emotional downtroddenness that is like the right beats. But then when he gets moving, he kind of continues his thoughts. And it's like a masterclass on how people tell stories who are this emotionally invested in them. And my goodness, he's absolutely just stunning. And I like some of the decisions that they made. Like you said, there's a high level that this show is doing that movies aren't really doing, because in most other shows, Carmy would be that rough and tumble, like sage who, while he's gruff on the outside, but lovable on the inside and brings everyone along and creates a team. No, absolutely not. He's rough all over 100%. He's highly, highly damaged. Personally, his family is highly damaged, and it just comes through, and they allow that to happen. They allow this to get to some really rough places, and just like emotional beats of kind of how they treat each other, how they respond to each other. And I know there's a lot of talk about how this show does restaurants really well. And this, you know, a lot of people who work in back in the kitchen are saying, yeah, that's kind of how this is. There's a reason why people who work in restaurants have a lot of, you know, there's a lot of abuse and a lot of substance abuse and things of that sort, because you're dealing with so much stress. There were times like I was like, I got to pause it because I've got the stress and I need to like calm myself down. Like I remember, like you said, the first episode, I think we watched the first 2 episodes, and then I think we took a break for a week, and we're just like, no. I don't even know if I was going to come back to it, but we ended up coming back and finishing it. And then I just rewatched this in prep because we did watch it when it came out. So it's fresh for me now. And my goodness, like just even getting through the episodes, knowing what was going to happen was still like, whew. Okay. All right. Maybe I need to take a break.
Well, it's funny because you have the stress of the kitchen, right? And just the pace of getting these dishes like ready and out the door. But then you introduce the pure unadulterated chaos that is Richie.
Yes.
Played by Eben to perfection.
Yes. I hate his character. Absolutely. Guy. I was like, he's the worst.
He's a tremendous actor.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Andor, like this, like he's great. But yeah, you throw Richie into the it was already chaotic, and then he comes in and doesn't do jack.
And just messes things up and just causes problems.
Yeah.
And arguments. Oh, just the worst.
No, the whole cast is really unique. I just love the interplay between Carmy and Sydney. And Io is just awesome. She's so good. Like, and it was like a couple episodes in, I was like, what is it? And I was like, she just has the screen presence. I can't explain it. Like the camera just loves her. She's got very large, expressive eyes. So does Jeremy Allen White. They're able to emote through their eyes without having to do a lot of extra things too. And the show's shot in so much close up anyway, by and large, that you get a lot of that. Now I did notice it felt like to me, and I'd have to go back and just kind of scrub through, but it felt like to me that they were a little more experimental with the shot selection in the first couple episodes. And then it kind of got a little more normalized.
Yeah.
And even the color correction was like really aggressive in some early episodes. And then I could feel it dial back just a little bit. I think they were just kind of feeling things out on like how experimental, I guess, they wanted to be with like the show. It felt right, like to do that. But there was some really nice stuff early on. They were really pushing the color grade hard. Like the image was like pushed about as far as it could be. Like and this show's not afraid to have like high contrast, which so many shows seem like they are afraid to be real, like a nice rich image. So it's shot well, but you almost don't notice it because the environment's like pretty ugly. Like the place is just a dump, right?
It is.
Like the original beef
of Chicagoland.
Yeah. It's just a dump, but but this show lives and dies with its writing, and its writing is top notch. Yeah. I mean,
this year definitely deserved the awards it received. I can hands down. Jeremy Allen White got a Best Actor, and then I believe it got Best Original Series for the 2023 Emmys. If I remember correctly. So yeah, it is definitely won some awards and has continued to win some awards, but I think these are very well deserved for what it is. So, but like this is, I laugh because like this is such the antithesis of something that came out like Ted Lasso, of that feel good TV series.
Yes.
And then this is like the exact like, oh, we're going to give you nightmares for several weeks. It was also interesting. I think they made a good choice. So Hulu actually dropped all of the episodes at once instead of piecing them out week by week. And I think that was a good idea because I think if we all just watched episode 1, none of us would have ever come back the week after of like,
probably
absolutely
not.
Like I rewatching 1, I could tell you there was so much coming at you. It was so frenetic, like you said, that I didn't really know what was going on. Like I was like, they do not spoon feed you at all. Like if you miss something, you miss something and you just got to fill it in yourself. Like there is no hand holding. This is not a TV show that you can be on your phone. If you are on your phone, you will not know what's going on. Like you need to pay attention, especially that first episode. So when rewatching, I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. Like, oh, I get it. Oh yeah, they did tell me in the first one. I was just so like in this fight or flight mode from all the stress that I was not paying attention well enough, or wasn't, I was missing all this, but my goodness. So, and one of the nice things, I think the realistic nature of this, they made everybody kind of do their own prep. And like, I know Jeremy Allen White went to cooking school for a couple of weeks to kind of be able to learn how to, cut vegetables and do prep and get some of the talk. And then also the guy who funnily enough, the guy who does all of their like work, like electrical work or like the handyman that they have, he's actually a chef in real life. So he's like the only one who doesn't cook.
That's great.
But he's actually the chef. He's actually a chef. He has like his own restaurant and stuff. So I think that's kind of pretty hilarious.
Well, this, I always, me, I always like to come up with like fictitious pitch meetings. Yeah. And this totally, if I'm pitching this, is like, all right, it's The Bear, and it's a cross between Chef with Jon Favreau, great film, and Fight Club.
All right, I can see that.
And it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Well, and Oliver Platt's in both. So, hey, as the financier. So, it works.
And I love Chef. Like, I think it's a tremendous piece of filmmaking. And I love even more that Favreau like fell in love with cooking. And if you've ever watched Chef Show on Netflix with him, and
both are fantastic. Like Chef is one of those movies that when I like want a feel good movie or want something just kind of on and just I will throw Chef on, especially I love like when he gets, when he gets the truck, or like all the moments of like he's cutting up the vegetables or cooking, and I love to cook. So for me, do I. It's great. Yeah.
I only started making spaghetti with garlic and oil after Chef.
Yeah. It's so good though.
It is. It's tremendous. Yeah. But yeah, I love all the prep in this show as well. Obviously it adds a level of authenticity, and then it gives them, that's where the frenetic nature comes to. When you got a character like talking, and then you're cutting to them actually like chopping onion or getting the stove too hot.
Well, I will say, and it's also like it gives. This show does a really great job of giving all of its characters arcs and making them feel three-dimensional.
Yep.
Even in this first season, like they go and they expand on some of the other characters in seasons 2 and 3. But even in season 1, each character really kind of is not just a cutout. Like it's very much like they have their goals, they have their flaws, they have their whatever. And it comes really comes across like Marcus, immediately wanting to jump on board with this system of working under Carmy because he wants to be, do better than just bread. He wants to be a pastry chef. You get the fight with Tina of not wanting to be part of it, being above it, and going from, I know how to speak English to I don't know how to speak English pretty regularly just to piss people off.
Right.
Or calling, Carmy Jeff instead of Chef all the time. Like, it's all these kind of things, but then it turns into kind of like, once she's on board, turns into like more of a term of endearment as opposed to her being mad at him kind of a thing. So it's just this, they're all dealing with a loss of Michael, and so's Carmy, but he comes in to try to change things up, and they're just like one. So it's this great, the writing is just fantastic to be able to put all of these moving pieces together to develop these really rich characters and then add that much stress. And yet we all still watched it and all still thought it was great. This should have been an absolute mess. This should not have worked. We should not have enjoyed this, but yet somehow we did.
Well, I think we do enjoy it because you have enough key characters and they're not all on board at once. In fact, at the very beginning, Carmy only has himself, Sydney, and Marcus. I'd say from the onset, embracing this vision of chasing greatness. They're not like really on the same page on like how to accomplish it, but they all are like chasing it. And then you get Tina. Once Tina's in, then they start getting the momentum. And then Richie's just a problem, but like it's really cool. Like I loved watching Marcus's obsession with like being great. Like, and it was like a punch in the gut when Carmy did what he did to him. But that's life. Like that heat of the moment, people say and do things that they regret. And then like Carmy reading Sydney so well to like, no, you're great in all these areas, but like you're impatient. Like every employer that I called said you're impatient. And she's just like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, that to me is the beauty of the show, is like him having this vision that just isn't crystallized yet. And him thinking he's supposed to do one thing. And I'm talking about Carmy.
Yeah.
And he's doing everything he possibly can to try to accomplish that one thing. And then the realization, the beautiful moment when he realizes that's not what was supposed to happen at all. Like, and chasing greatness now has become like a real crystallized reality. And he's got the team in place to possibly do it. I think that's cool. I just think that's the coolest stuff. Like,
yeah.
It's not something I've seen in a show. Like I can't tell you, like, or a movie in a long time. Like usually that stuff's relegated to like sports films. That's kind of the classic narrative of a sports movie of like, a bunch of rejects. They don't play well together.
Yep.
A coach sees something in them, that's kind of this in a restaurant.
But yet, like, I would say it's not even like that he sees it, like Carmy's not seeing this stuff in them. He's just dragging them along, like kind of get on board. Cause he's he's not that coach that sees stuff in them. He's just like, do this or get out kind of a situation, which kind of turns a little bit of that on its head, where it's just, he's not a nice guy at all. He's very damaged and takes it out on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, oh my goodness. Again, just rewatching, I was just like, my goodness, there's just so much stress. Nobody, like, there's not a single person here that I'm like, wow, you're a really great person. Like almost everybody in this entire show are terrible people. Like Marcus may be the closest, but he's also the guy who was too busy dealing with his donuts to then actually work on. Right. And
it's not that Carmy was out of line telling him what he was telling him. He was out of line for hitting all his, smacking the thing out of his hands. But he wasn't wrong in telling him, like, you're really screwing up my day here. Yeah. That was not the language he used. It was a little more colorful than that.
We're a family friendly show here, Ben.
All right. I'm noticing series cinematography. Somebody's got 26 episodes, then there's just 2, and then 1. So I wonder if somebody did just shoot like the pilot and 1 other episode, and that's why things are looking different to my eye as we progress along. But anyway, probably.
Yeah.
That's probably why. But it's just another, I don't know. I guess we're kind of falling out of this golden age of the streamers, but this is, it's not like the streaming quality is like going to go away. It's just, there's just going to be less of it, but you're still going to get shows like this.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting to a point, we've talked about it, where the quantity is going to go down. We're not going to have as many shows out there as we've had previously, and they're going to try to focus more on getting good stuff out there. It's going to be less of it, but getting better. Hopefully,
and technically, this is an FX production, right?
Yes. Yeah. FX and Hulu and all that.
FX does some really good stuff.
They do.
Like, they've done good work for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So now are you caught up?
Yes. So I've gone through season 3.
So how many, based on where it is, no spoilers, obviously, but based on where it is, how many more seasons do you think they need to tell the story that you feel like they're kind of telling?
Probably 1, maybe 2. Like, if this goes beyond 5 seasons, and I mean,
you'd be kind of surprised.
I mean,
yeah.
Spoiler for you, season 3, I think was a little bit of a misstep in a lot of ways. Season 2, I felt like really kept up. Actually, my favorite episode is in season 2 of the entire series, but season 3 like felt not so much a slog, but definitely was like, okay, we need to have a little bit of growth, like we need to move on, or just it felt a little disjointed in some ways.
Right.
So I think also this show really works when it's in the kitchen. Like, and I think there was a lot that happened outside of the kitchen.
Right.
And so that kind of was hindered a little bit, so whereas like this is a show about kind of them dealing with each other and dealing with their crap while they're in the kitchen, getting stuff figured out. I know why they did that, but that's just kind of my thoughts. Okay. And I know a lot of other people also feel that way, but that's,
I was just kind of curious, like how long, how many episodes?
Honestly, I hope it's 1 more. I hope we do 1 season, we get things wrapped up and moved on.
Good. I think that's encouraging, because that tells me that the creators, like, or creator, because I think it's kind of the brainchild.
Christopher Storer.
Yeah. That there is a more of a defined vision on like where they were going to start and go.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're only doing 1 or 2 more. I don't think they have a set amount, but I'm hoping that he is able to wrap this up, move on to other things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I'm curious, I guess if that's the case, there's like maybe 1 or 2 more seasons. Obviously we've seen Alan White in the wrestling film.
Oh yeah. With the 3 brothers.
Yeah.
That we talked about on this podcast. That
and I'm blanking on the name of it. Yeah. Whatever. But I'm curious, like, where he kind of lands in the acting landscape. The Iron Claw. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause after he hasn't done anything besides The Bear, he's got a couple of stuff on the horizon, but not a lot. So he's all in on The Bear.
He's a good one.
Yeah. Oh no. Again, fantastic.
And he's got the physicality that if he wants to go and do some action or something, I think he'd be up for it. But
it'd be interesting to see him do that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I could see him in some sort of military thing, but
not like a Arnold Schwarzenegger action film kind of a thing.
No, but I mean, yeah, his stature's, I think he's only like 5'7", something like that, but he'd do well in some sort of more grounded, like military picture. Yeah. I know they're already doing that. I think it comes out this spring, the Iraq one from the creator of Civil War. Something like that, but I'm curious because he's got the range. I mean, like there's no range issue with him, so pretty much can do whatever you want. Oh, he is going to play Bruce Springsteen. I forget the name of the movie. So
that's right.
That was the big one that I think I looked up and saw that was in the horizon. I was like, oh, interesting. So he must be able to sing decently well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we'll see.
We will.
We'll see. Playing the
or
boss.
someone else's. Yeah. That'll be interesting. I'll see. That one will really show his acting chops of like the difference of, from something like this or from Shameless or the Iron Claw into that. Again, I
saw
remember
early stuff on Shameless, but I think I don't even remember him in it. No. So
I think for him, his story, again, this is just from stuff I've read. I've not seen this, but I think he really kind of comes into his own in some of the later seasons. Because it's less about him in the beginning, and then it becomes more about him.
Oh, okay.
Or he becomes a larger portion of the show. But
in the movie I was referencing by Garland is called Warfare. And it's based on Navy SEALs in Iraq. Like, and it's got a writing team that's SEAL. So.
Very cool.
He's not in that. He could have just as easily been in it, though, looking at the ages of the cast. Yeah. Because it's got the lead. One of the leads is that Cosmo Jarvis from Shogun.
Oh.
That plays the lead guy in Shogun.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. His name is
Blackthorne.
Yeah. Well, Blackthorne, but his, what's the actor's name? Skyrocketed because of Shogun. Oh my! That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I could see him in a movie like that. But
yeah. So I just want to put it on record that I did not bring up the Andor reference this time. I know I usually do.
How could I not though? I mean, he's like, it's not like that. It's not like he's like a
side character
in Andor season 1.
He's on a whole arc.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's fantastic in that.
Oh, he is.
And 100%, if you didn't mention it, I was going to mention it. So yeah. I just want to point it out there for posterity that I didn't bring it up, but would have.
And you talk about another guy that's followed this journey, the journeyman acting thing. Like, there's another one.
Even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just grinding.
Yeah. But doing great work. Like, he's in some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know he's a Frederick the Bellboy in the Royal Tenenbaums. What? Seriously?
Hey, man.
I'll have to watch that again.
Yeah. He's grinding. He's doing it.
He was. I mean, yeah, since like 99, 2000, somewhere in there is like, he's been just showing up in stuff, little bit parts here and there. So
apparently he was John Quincy Adams in John Adams. So, and he and I have worked together.
Close personal friend.
Close personal friend. Give me a call.
What year was that one?
That was 2008.
Oh yeah. John Quincy Adams, 3 episodes.
We shot it in like 2007. I did it like.
Do you remember him?
No, absolutely not. No,
okay.
not in the least.
Interesting.
The only people I really remember too much from John Adams was Paul Giamatti, because he and I spoke because we're close personal friends. And then the guy who played Sam Adams, who I really disliked, Danny Houston. Not so much, like, I don't think he's a bad actor, but I remember sitting out, oh my goodness, it was like we were doing the tea party scene and Sam Adams was like talking from the ship and he can't remember his lines at all the entire time, Danny Houston. And we were out there and of course it was dark. It's like the middle of winter. So it's super cold. We're already way too cold because the heating broke in like the tent in the extras tent or whatever. And I was an extra for the scene. So I'm just like sitting there and we're all freezing because we're in like period clothing. So it's not like we're in like super warm, looking at all these other people in like super long jackets and puffy coats and stuff. Where like I'm sitting in like crap and he can't like constantly like we did like 15 takes of this thing. Cause like by the end, like we're all mouthing his words. Like you need to say X, Y, and Z. Like,
unbelievable.
We don't even know. We don't even have the script and we know your lines. Like, come on, get it together. But just
the greatest story ever though with that sort of thing happening is Dennis Haysbert doing an Allstate insurance ad in, I think, like Florida or South Carolina, on location. Like it was one of those like elevated highways, like over the swampland. And he's supposed to be delivering this monologue and cannot get it right. It used to sit the video feed from the film camera, because it was shot in like the late 90s. The video feed from the film camera used to be on YouTube. It was like 100 takes of him messing this up, and they lose the light. They lose the light. Like they start at like just before golden hour, and they lose it. And like he's still delivering takes, and you just see like lighted traffic on the bridge thing behind him. It's the craziest dang thing ever. Oh no. Well, like, and the furor surrounding it from the crew, like working hours to just have him flub line after line after line.
Oh, it's the worst. I mean, again, I do think Danny Houston is actually a good actor. So this is just a small little role of like, come on, get it together. Like if I had this role, I would have known my lines. Yeah. But but
no, it's fine. A little bit of public shaming now and again.
It's going to come after me.
Yeah, he's right. Who cares?
Yeah. Doesn't matter. It was almost 20 years ago. We did this. But anyway, so even you and me, call me up, man. We'll hit up. I mean, he was not even in the episodes that I was in. So like I was in the first 3 and he was like in 7, 8, and 9 or something like that. So like we did not cross paths at all. But Paul Giamatti and I shared a scene together. Well, that got cut. It's not
cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Blame the editor.
That's why I don't like you.
Well, the director probably. Yeah. Probably the director. The editor is just doing what the director told him to do, or producer. Sure.
Pass the buck, Ben. Pass the buck. It's always the director's fault or the producer's fault or whoever, It's the studio's fault. They didn't like the scene. That's what it is.
You see that guy, that extra over there? Get rid of all that over there.
Get rid of all. All right. Well, we have gone far off the bear. So any last thoughts on the bear that you want to?
No, I mean, it's a bright spot in television, and I'm looking forward to getting through the rest of the show. And I need to do the same thing with Lasso as well, because that was a great time. So there's so much TV out there. You're right. I was glad when you mentioned, like when you introed this, like getting us to discuss like seasons of shows is not easy because the time investment. I mean, I'm gonna say something. Anybody that listens to us, if you're in your late teens, in your 20s, you don't have a family or kids or anything, freaking consume as much content as you possibly can, because one day your life is going to change, and it's not bad. It's just you're not going to have all the time in the day to commit to watching stuff.
No.
And now, fortunately, I was able to watch this with Gwen. Like I got her to watch it with me. So I did jump. Apologies to my wife. I did jump 2 episodes ahead to finish this in time. So she's only seen it through 6.
Well, she better not listen until she finishes.
Yeah.
But if you've gotten this far, oops.
She doesn't listen to the podcast. Okay. No.
That's fair.
She's got better things to do.
Yeah.
That's my closing thoughts.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for giving us a listen. We really appreciate it. We enjoy doing these as much as I'm sure that you maybe like listening to them, but you know what? We're still going to do them even if you don't like listening to them, but we appreciate you listening anyways. And that was a really weird ramble. But we're going to go on. So anyways, we will see you next week with another episode of Cinema A to B. Maybe it's another TV show, but it's probably another movie. See you next week.
Take care, everybody.